right, Steve, away we go. It's time to hit the racetrack. Steve, we have the latest Gran Turismo 7 on our PlayStation 5s right now, and we're hitting the racetrack once again in a much slower simulated pace. What are your thoughts on this one, my friend?
Well, first off, I've never played any Gran Turismo games at all.
Sure.
So jumping into a racing game, I've played a bit of Forza, Need for Speed, that kind of thing. And they've really slowed this down. But it's...
Yep.
Yes, you do the tracks, but there is quite a lot to do in this if you're ready to do the grind for it. Because this game is definitely a grind. And like you said, you start off, you do a couple of courses, and then you go straight to a cafe, which I believe is a new feature to this game.
Yep.
And the idea is you meet Luca, and the idea is it gives you a menu. And the idea is, depending on the type of class, you have to collect three different cars by racing, and then you unlock the car, and then it gives you an update or brief description about the history of that car.
Yeah, it's well endowed in the world of, you know, history and where cars came from and all that stuff. It's very sim heavy, but it's at this point, Steve, Gran Turismo is stuck in the past. Gran Turismo 7 is way back where it needs to get caught up to the future, because everything nowadays is got your heart pumping, right? Not once did my heart pound in this game. It kind of, I think, it actually slowed down. I don't even think I listened to the audio. I actually turned it off and put a podcast on because there's nothing to listen to. There's no voice acting, right? You talk to Luca, you talk to all these other people who help you through the game. Not once is there any voice acting. Like, there's no voiceover. It's all text. I'm like, are you kidding? You've got to be kidding me, right? So you lose already that bit of a connection there, trying to build some kind of momentum and some hype getting into this game, and then you start off with some of the slowest cars in the world, right? And then the tracks are the same thing, Steve. At one point I had to turn off all of the assists just so I could maybe hit a wall. Like, it was just so, this game is so dull, it is so boring. I fell asleep playing this game, man. I know I'm not the biggest racing sim fan. I'm definitely more on the world of, you know, an arcade racer, but they need to catch up with everybody else, because there's just no excitement in this game. We got Grid Legends that just dropped. It came with a story. Like, you talk to, you go into Dirt, and that's a sim racing too. Horizon, Motorsport, dude, there's a lot more life into these games than where we're at with Gran Turismo 7. I definitely feel that this is for somebody. It's definitely not for us. And it's just, to me, dude, like, that's what I said, I think my heart kind of slowed down a bit and I fell asleep playing the game. It is so dull. And this elevator music, Steve, there's elevator music in this game. like you can't get into it and get your heart right. I'm like, all right, let's get into this race.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I was very more disappointed actually on the gameplay itself, because it looked like they held back the performance of the PS5. But what it can do, it felt very basic. I actually compared it to GT6 after we talked a little bit. And there wasn't a lot of difference, especially from the top down of the vehicle. I think I even saw grass that looked like a copy and paste, that looked like it's standing out by itself and just moves. And because they saved it all for the replay, all the best performances. But after playing for, like, doing a couple of laps on to do it, and then actually sitting there watching the replay in high performance with the music that was annoying in the background, I kept skipping that part. That bit didn't do much for me. I wish the game actual play was better graphically.
Absolutely. And it's just, dude, when you're racing, you can't even change the music. So if you don't like the song, you're stuck with it regardless. And it's just like, man, like, so many quality of life things within the game that it's been resolved by so many other games before it, right? And that's what I mean. This game is so stuck in the past. It's just a dull experience to play. The licensing thing is still a thing. You know, you got to go from checkpoint A to checkpoint B in a straight line and then stop in that square. Okay, great. Now we're going to give you a faster car and you got to do it again. I'm like, oh my goodness, really? This is what we're gonna do? Okay, now you're gonna curve a corner. Well, now here's a faster car. Now curve the corner again. I'm like, oh man. Like, I just don't want to do it. The cafe is there. The characters are boring. Everything about this game is just boring.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me when I read up about it, they listened to the actual people that played it and brought back stuff that they loved about this game, and they wanted to make this for new beginners as well. So I can see the history of cars, but if you're not that way inclined, you know, if you don't love your Top Gears and your F1 or your Indy racing, then it's not going to hit the mark for everyone. But one thing I do want to quickly touch on: how did you find the DualSense with the new rumbles and the different features?
I love the feedback, man. That DualSense controller takes every game to that next level, right? It even helped here with Gran Turismo 7. You get that feedback, the haptic feedback in the triggers and stuff. Dude, they have the speaker there too on the controller. Not utilized whatsoever in this game. It counts down, do through the speaker, and that's it. I'm like, okay, I know we should probably play with headphones, but again, that's what I said. The only reason I had headphones on is so I could listen to my podcast.
Yeah, I had the headphones on. It sounded reasonably decent. I wish there was more commentary or something like some other games, just to make it, just really to immerse you in that experience. But to be honest with you will be doing a lot of hours just to grind to unlock all those 400 plus cars. Yeah. And then you could slightly tweak them, but all they've done is just taken from the other 6 games and just made the 7th one and just added the cafe to it.
Well, Steve, I think we're done with Gran Turismo 7. I know I am. What do you score in this one?
This game is not for everyone. I did enjoy the experience I had. I probably won't put all the grind in to unlock all the cars and everything like that. I was a little bit disappointed on some of the graphics when actually playing the game. Yeah. But overall, it was fun, and it's not for everyone, but I'm giving this an 8 out of 10.
I think you're definitely way too high. Definitely too high for me. This game was boring from the get-go. Even with that long intro, you couldn't even skip. This thing was like 4 minutes long, and I was like, wow. Even that started with the elevator music, and that kind of set the whole tone of the game for me moving forward. Unfortunately for me, I'm there with a 5.5. There's lots here to collect and grind for that car enthusiast fans will enjoy. However, Gran Turismo 7 feels stuck in the past with boring music, no voiceovers, and the return of old gameplay mechanics that don't match some of the other sim racing games of today.